All right, it is St. Nicholas Day.
Yes, it is.
So, ho, 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 and nice little holiday treat from the folks at Starbucks. And listen, where you always get your money's worth when it comes to great taste in your coffee. And now we're going to kind of rev you up in another way by talking sports. Two of the finest people in the world when it comes to sports. It is none other than Bob Dvorak of that great newspaper, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, America's newspaper, and Greg Dailos from Vantage Management Group. But more importantly, also the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. And we're in the midst of an NFL game right now, so we have a little extra time to kick around and hang out here at CBS World Headquarters in Green Tree to talk sports. And I think we should talk about these Steelers. And let's hear what Ramon Foster had to say about the Steelers controlling their destiny. Ramon Foster.
You never know how this thing's going to fall. One thing we can't rely on is other teams to get us in the playoffs. We can't have that in our mind, well, we dropped this game, we hope they let us in. No, we have to win these games, period. It's 1 week at a time right now.
All right, you've got Kansas City and the Raiders today. And Kansas City, as you said on the program, Greg, earlier, is one of those teams that the Steelers, with identical records of 6-5, have to try to stay one step ahead of. And the way Andy Reid has been coaching that football team of late, that may be pretty difficult.
Yeah, they really caught fire, Rob, after the Steeler game. It was kind of like something that ignited them, and they've been playing very well. Their quarterback is protecting the ball. I don't think he's thrown an interception in some 250 passes, something along those lines. So they are a team to really be concerned with at this juncture, with the Steelers positioning the way they are. The Steelers are not going to be able to catch Cincinnati at this juncture, so it's really all about just trying to stay afloat. And you know, 9-7 is probably going to be good enough to get you into the playoffs unless you get those tiebreaker things that could come into play. So really, as a Steeler fan, you need to be pulling for the Raiders today.
Yeah, and Alex Smith has been pretty steady. And as far as the Bengals, they're taking on the Bungles, who are the Cleveland Browns, who just have not been able to find their way this year. And Johnny Manziel may have just recently got himself in so much of off-field issues that he may find himself out of the National Football League. Greg was up there last Monday night watching the Browns. It's just a debacle in Cleveland, and you hate to see it because I love the ownership and I love the fan base, but they just cannot get on solid footing, Bob.
Well, you know, and the shame of it is they have some decent players. They've got some talent.
And they spent a lot of money on that team.
But the quarterback position has been their bugaboo ever since they came back into the league, and you just can't settle on a guy. If they find a guy, he gets hurt. Now, you know, I think Manziel's probably out of the equation altogether. When you're going with your third stringer over a #1 draft pick, that tells you everything you need to know about the trust level. But he did it to himself, so Johnny Football, we hardly knew you.
All right, let's do.
You know, Rob, there's one thing that I think is kind of cool about sports, like the nuances of sports, and there are some unique sounds in sports that are really interesting. One of which is when you get a block punt or a block field goal, that double thump bump, and then the ball's going the opposite direction, and everybody's eyes are like disconcerted for a minute. The whole crowd feels all crazy. That's happened in that Cleveland game. Then another unique sound, obviously, when a home run hits the foul pole, is one of the neatest sounds.
Right.
And
El Kabong?
Yeah.
I like that.
And then a field goal hitting the upright. Or the crossbar. You had that in the Michigan State game yesterday. That unique sound of that.
My favorite sound is beer here.
Yeah.
Get your Miller beer here. Now listen, Steelers, Matt Hasselbeck. Boy, he has really got them going in the right direction. And Coach Pagano's got to be happy. But their franchise quarterback will come back. But a lot of people are saying, do you give him the big off-season deal? I was watching ESPN earlier today. If Hasselbeck stays with his team and continues to win, because Andrew Luck is set to make a big payday during the offseason. But here is what Jarvis Jones, the Steeler, had to say about stopping Matt Hasselbeck.
And just trying to give him a different initial look at the snap or whatever. And really, man, just on the defensive line, we just got to be disruptive. You know, get our hands up, get them off the spot, make a move, and hit them a little bit. You know, trying to make them uncomfortable.
Despite all of that, here's what the great Tony Dungy, former Tampa Bay and Indianapolis Colts coach and ex-Steeler, now part of Sunday Night Football in America on NBC with that great crew, had to say on 93.7 The Fan about why it'll be a big night for BB, as in Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger.
Brown's going to get his catches. I see them having another 400-yard night and putting up 28 to 35 points. I think it's going to be that type of game, and I think Matt Hasselbeck is going to have to do the same thing and try to win a high-scoring game, because I do not see the Indianapolis defense slowing these wide receivers down.
Bobby?
Well, I think the whole key is pressure on Hasselbeck. If they can put him down a couple of times, he's going to be a different quarterback. He is 40 years old. I mean, by NFL standards, that's a fossil. He's been winning because they've managed the ball, they haven't turned it over, and with a very conservative game plan, so they can disrupt that structure a little bit with a rush. I think it'll be the Steelers' night.
Hasselbeck reminds me a little of that famous picture. I think it was from Pitt Stadium of Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah.
He kind of on his one knee after
Blood
the game.
coming down his nose.
That's the National Football League.
Yeah.
So I like the Steelers in this one, and I believe it's 3.5 as far as they're giving. But I still think the Steelers will win via the points. What about you?
Steelers have no margin for error, and I think this team responds when its back is against the wall, that they get down to brass tacks. If I could use any more cliches, I would just
You'd be doing the Rob Pratt show.
Avoid cliches like the plague, Rob.
I know.
It's my tip to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Go ahead. What do you think?
I'm with you, guys. I think that this is a game that it's all about the Steelers. I don't see them having any a very unlikely chance of losing this game. It's so important to the Steelers, and the Colts are kind of in disarray. Although in their division is so screwed up, they can win that division with a sub 500 record.
As long as Coach Tomlin doesn't try any fake field goals or other.
Hey, listen, we got to talk.
Brilliant coaching decisions.
Alabama, Nick Saban, who I love, and he's a great coach. They win the SEC again. And Greg was kind of alluding that he may end up again, maybe in the National Football League. We didn't have very much success with Miami, but we also heard, and you brought it to our attention, that Urban Meyer, there's talk about him maybe becoming the head coach where?
Cleveland. And it would be, from the reports are that it would be that he would get total control of the organization, personnel, on field, all of that being his bailiwick, the highest paid contract in National Football League history for a coach, and really just a guy that would be given the reins to the organization.
Take some pressure off of him. He wouldn't be expected to do it all overnight.
Well, they're going to change the name of the team to the Possums, Rob.
Are they?
Because they play dead at home and get killed on the road. But be that as it may,
But back to college football. Pitt, West Virginia, they'll learn their bowl fates later today.
And Penn State.
In Penn State, you're hearing Pinstripe, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of leaning, but and I can't get excited, can't get jazzed about the pinstripe.
I know, and there's 40 bowl games. It's such a watered down product, but TV rules the tail's wagging the dog here. There's going to be a game or two on every night. But what matchup is really going to appeal to you? I don't know who Pitt draws. It's going to be like compelling viewing.
Yeah, you corrected me earlier on when some people were saying that it could be Pitt and Penn State in that game, but that you can't go to the same game twice.
Big Ten has a rule you don't go to the same bowl in consecutive years. Penn State played there last year, so they'll likely go someplace else. And if Pitt gets a Big Ten school, I don't know. Is Michigan falling that far? It's hard to say.
Northwestern, maybe?
Yeah.
Michigan State won the Big Ten. The Pac-12 went to Stanford, and the ACC went to Clemson yesterday. Great day for college football. We've got 1 minute left. Congratulations to everybody who competed in the PIAA. But Central Catholic will advance. Congratulations. They beat State College, and Karn City was defeated by Aliquippa. TJ eliminated, as was Clareton. But your thoughts about your alma mater, Central Catholic?
Well, they really got it going on. And that game against State College, I think, is the first time they've played State College since Central played Matt Suey and the guys back in the late 70s at Mount Lebanon High School. Really, and they were somewhat dominant in that game. Scored a late touchdown to make the score even bigger than it would have been. But they took care of business. They're pretty good.
All right. Listen, thank you so much. And also, earlier today on ESPN, saw a great piece on Bruce Arians. Love that guy. I think what he has done with the Cardinals is amazing. He has completely rejuvenated the career of Carson Palmer. And what he did in Indianapolis when Pagano got sick with Andrew Luck, a young Andrew Luck, how can you say right now that he may not be the best offensive mind in the National Football League? Despite what Carolina's doing, but they also have the all-everything Cam Newton. And the last time I checked, Carson Palmer, who's a great athlete, they're timing him with an hourglass. I mean, in the 40. He's just a great football coach, Bruce Arians.
Yeah, well, better offensive mind than Chip Kelly. Come on, I mean, no. Truthfully, he gets the NFL game, and that's a very important aspect of doing it. He's got a really good, solid old man quarterback.
Go ahead.
Rob, change is inevitable unless you're dealing with a vending machine. But Bruce Arians has been successful everywhere he goes. He inherited a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
And he's taking it to a whole new level. They got a good matchup coming up.
And you did not know his jobs have been many, but one of them, he was an assistant with Paul Bear Bryant.
Where's his houndstooth cap? I mean, he's got the other thing.
Oh, he looks good, man. That Kangol hat. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. Enjoy your day. Go Steelers. That's tonight on Sunday Night Football in America on NBC.